When I'm doing my work, I'm looking for surprise and I'm looking for grace. Well, surprise is what is the content. Grace is the technique. As an artist, you build up your technique, your way of manipulating, you work through the process until you get to the point where it's almost unconscious, and then it all comes down to how do you want to take that technique and create a content that is relevant for people, interesting. I think art is symbolic. And it's not a literal form, and that's why you've got to look at it longer and slower to see something that you've never seen before, because that's what the artist is trying to put in it. I mean, if you're doing art, you want to say something that's never been said before, or at least to build towards a new idea. It's a giving by the artist and a receiving by the viewer, and back and forward. So you're actually creating a conversation. The world is based on chaos, and as an artist, what you're doing is you're trying to coordinate ideas into a new idea and get rid of all the external imagery, let's say, so that you can present one idea. So I just finished doing a series of robust female figures in yoga poses. After that was completed, I did a total 360, and I'm doing young men in poses, and they're hugging themselves. I got people to pose for me, and it was a really interesting kind of respectful and trustful situation to have them pose for me, because try it. Hugging yourself, what does that mean? What does it feel like? And what is the message that it brings? I realized that it looks one way, but it feels another way. So I'm dealing with the same thing as the yoga poses. What does it feel like from the inside out? Well, now we're doing the hugs. And what does it look like for a big, burly man to be hugging themselves? What is it saying? And so it's saying all kinds of things. And every time I make a piece, I discover something new. Well, there's so many combinations. There's the person that's uncomfortable hugging themselves. There's the person who really feels it is therapeutic for them to hug themselves. I guess what I'm saying is that maybe if men hug themselves and they're more internal, they don't have to be so aggressive externally. It's a really big proposition, but I think that's the direction I'm going in. I'm thinking that the more pieces that I do, that when you see a whole series of different kinds of young men, all age men, hugging themselves, the more repetitious that you see it, people are going to get more and more comfortable with it, because it's a very strange image to see somebody hugging themselves. I've had people pose for me so that I can see all the different forms that a hug takes. And you can really feel the energy. And there's so much built up hope and anger involved in a human body. And when somebody takes all that and embraces themselves with it, they're a swirl of energy. So it's the swirl of energy that I'm trying to capture. The nice thing about getting a series is that you've said, okay, this is worth exploring. This is something that I can get my teeth into, and I want to see where it's going to go, which is great, because there's nothing worse than not having an idea when you're an artist, because you still have the inclination to keep working. And it's like any art form. Even if you don't have a good idea, you've just got to keep working. You're just not working at great things. You're just working at stuff so that when the good idea comes, you're ready for it, because you're all set up for it. You're in the process. So you just hope you're working on a good idea. But as an artist, every now and then you take a break from your art, and then you try to get your work out there. And whether people get it or not, who knows? You hope they'll get it.